this bodysuit was requested and your girl has been trying to create one for herself. So when I got this request, I was so excited to research about it. That's why I started with this. Remember, it has the lowest like. Now this particular one you're seeing on the thumbnail has a shoulder pad, but on mine I decided to make my shoulder pointy. This is the only difference between the thumbnail and the one I created. My neckline wasn't that deep, and you guys, if you know you have not given this video a thumbs up, I think you want to do that. Please be kind enough and give this video a thumbs up. Please go ahead and subscribe, like my video. I have other videos that you will love also. Let's go ahead and start creating this bodysuit. Now the first thing we're going to do is draft out the bodysuit pattern, and you guys, this is really easy, so don't be scared. If you're a beginner, you can do this, okay? Now on the table here, I have my pattern paper folded into two. If you don't have a pattern you can fold into two, you can just lay two patterns together. Make sure they are of equal length and width. This is just going to be for the front and the back piece, so make sure you have two patterns, okay? And now I'm just going to rule out a starting line. So yeah, I just need to indicate the starting line, and this is just going to be my shoulder point. Now let's go ahead and mark the vertical measurement, that's points. Now the first point we're going to be marking is the shoulder. So on the shoulder here, I'll go ahead and divide my shoulder measurement by 2. That's my, just place the tape from one shoulder to the other shoulder point. Whatever number you get, divide by 2 and mark it down on your starting line. And the next thing you need to do is mark 1 inch down from that point you just indicated. Now I have my slope indicated. I'll just go ahead and rule this to the neckline like this. And the next thing for me to do is divide my round armhole by 2. So go ahead and take the measurement you're seeing on the screen, divide that measurement by 2 and mark that down from your slope. Okay, so you remember we marked our shoulder measurement on this point. So whatever you marked there, go ahead and confirm that measurement here on this point. Make sure it is of the same width. And if it's not, go ahead and adjust. You can see me adjusting. And what I'll do now is connect that point to the slope like this. And I'll also rule a horizontal line. This is where our armhole will be sitting. Follow the step, you guys. It's going to be step by step and easy. Now the next thing we're going to mark is the bust point. So go ahead and place the tape from your shoulder to your nipple point, that is your bust point, and mark this down on your pattern. From the starting line, which is the shoulder, you go down and mark your bust point step by step, okay? I'll rule an horizontal line here, so when I want to divide my round bust by 4, I already have the line ruled. So this is the bust. Now the next point for us to mark is the waist. So after your bust points, the next thing you're marking is your waist point. And how to get that measurement is indicated on the screen. So just follow. You guys take your time, you don't need to rush. And this is my waistline. Now I'll be marking my crotch line, and you guys, there are 2 ways to get your crotch. You can place the tape from your desired waistline from the front to your back waistline, your desired waist, where you want it to be. So place your tape there, go to the back, whatever measurement you get, divide that number by 2 and mark this on your pattern. Or the next way to do that is sit down and place your tape just as seen on the picture. So you can do either way. Get whatever number you get. Now mark that as your crotch point, and you're going to be marking the crotch point from the waist point. So place your tape from the waist, go down and mark your crotch. For me, my crotch point is 11. That is what I'm marking. From my waist to my crotch is 11. So that's what I'm marking right now. I hope you guys understood everything I just said. And this is the crotch line. I am going to be marking 5 inch down from the waist, and that is going to be known as my hip line. This is not how you get your hip on the normal, but for this bodysuit, this is what you need to do. So I am going to be placing my tape from the waist, and I'll just mark 5 inch down, and that point is going to be known as my hip, my upper hip, or anyone you want to, just your hip point. So the next step is step 2. We are going to be marking our horizontal measurements, and when I mean horizontal, we are going to be dividing round measurements by 4. So the first point to divide by 4 is the bust. So I'll divide my round bust by 4, and I'll mark that down on my bust line. So the measurement is on the screen. You guys follow what is happening on the screen. Get your bust, divide by 4, and here. So what I'll do is take the line up to the armhole, and that part is done. I'll move to the waist. I'll divide my round waist by 4, and I'll mark that down on my waist line. And once I have my waist line, I'll connect that to my bust. So we're just gradually completing the pattern step by step. I'll move to my hip. I'll divide my round hip by 4, and I'll be marking that on my hip line. You know we already have the hip line indicated. So yeah. And I'll connect the waist to the hip like that, completing the pattern gradually. That is what we're doing, as you can see. Now move over to the crotch. On my crotch line, I'll go down by 1 inch. I'll go down by 1 inch. You guys, at this point, if you know you will not be attaching extra fabric to your front crotch, I will advise to go down by 4 inches. But if you're going to be adding extra fabric to it, you guys will understand on the sewing version. So yeah, let me just continue. So what I'll do next is, on that 1 inch I went down by, I'll mark in 1.5 inch. That's what I just marked. I just went in by 1.5, and I'll just connect it back to my crotch. The next step is for us to create the front curve. Now this is how we're going to get the front, because what we're doing right now is the front pattern. So I'll be creating the curve, and before then, let me just go ahead and label this out. So in case you missed it, we marked 1 inch down and we marked 1.5 inch in. Now I'm just going to mark 5 inches out from this point, and this is just going to help me really create the curve for the bodysuit. That's the front curve. So as you can see how I placed my tape, it is not straight, it is on an angle. I don't know if you get that, but it's on an angle, and this is just going to help me create the curve. So before I create the curve with my marker, I'll go in with my pen and just trace, and once I am satisfied, I'll just go ahead and trace with my marker. So I advise you do this with a pen, so in case you don't like the curve you're creating, you can just clean and go how you want it. If you want it deeper than this, or you want it out, just use your pen first. And once I was satisfied, as you can see what I'm doing, I'm just going in with my marker and I'm making this permanent. So this is the curve I'm going to be using, and remember this is 5 inches out. So yeah. And let's move over to the armhole. So on the armhole, I'll go ahead and divide my armhole by 2 to get the middle point. And what you need to do, just place your tape like this, fold into 2, press it on the side, and now you have your middle point. Now from that middle point, I'll go out by 1/2 inch. You guys remember we're still creating the front, so that's why we're creating the front armhole first. I'll go in by 1/2 inch, and now I'll connect with the curve from the 1/2 inch like this to the slope and then to the armhole. Now this is me creating the front armhole curve. Now if you want your armhole to look different than this, I'll advise you go ahead and do that right now, shaping it to how you want it to look. And this is how mine will be looking for this bodysuit, and this is the front armhole. And yeah, for the back, what we need to do is connect from the middle point to the armhole point like this. I'm just going to use different markers so you understand. I'm using the blue marker for the back, and I also label that out so you know that this is the back armhole. So this is the back. You guys, the next thing for us to do, that step 4, is for us to create the back crotch curve. So what we did was create the front, and now we are creating the back. For the back, from that angle I came out by 5 inches for the front. I'll place my tape on that angle and mark 6.5 inches out. So still on that angle, I'm just going to come out by 6.5 inches. and this 6.5 is just going to help me create the back crotch curve. So yeah, 6.5. I'm just labeling it out. And no, I'm going to use my pen to trace this out. I almost did a mistake, so I realized that, oh yeah, I have to go in with my pen first so I don't make a full mistake. So yeah, now I have gone in with my pen and I'm satisfied. I'm just going to trace those points out to get my back crotch curve. So what I will do right now is, from this point, the crotch point, I'm going to mark 4 inches down for my back crotch. So like I'm coming down by 4 inches for my crotch to get a new crotch for my back. And just the same way we marked 1.5 on the other front curve, we're going to be marking 1.5 out. We came down by 4 and then we marked 1.5 inch out. And I'm just going to go ahead and connect that curve to that 4 inches down. So please ignore the first curve I did. This is what we're supposed to do. 4 inches down and 1.5 inch in. And yeah, that is for the back crotch. Now step 5 is for us to create the neckline and the pointy shoulder. So because I told you guys I wanted mine to be a pointy shoulder, I didn't want to add a shoulder pad, so I decided to make mine a pointy shoulder. So what I will do now is, from the slope here where we have the curve, I'll go up by 3 centimeters, and this can be 1 inch if you want. So whichever you want to use, I'll be using the 3 centimeters. So I'll go out like this from that curve, indicate my 3 centimeter. Let me just label this out for you. So I'll come to the neckline. I'll mark the neck width of 3.5 inches. So this is all creating the neckline for the front and the back pattern. So 3.5 inches is both for the front and the back. Now for the front neck depth, I'll use 3 inches for now. I'll connect the 3 inches to the 3.5 inches neck width with a curve. I'll also be marking the neck depth for the back, because we have the back pattern at the back of this pattern, you remember, right? So the neck depth is going to be 1 inch down, and from the 1 inch, I'll connect with the curve to the neck width. Gradually, the pattern is all coming together. And now I have my back neckline here, I have my front armhole, I have my back armhole, I have everything. So what I'll do now is connect the neck width to the 3 centimeter I marked upward from the slope. Creatives, you remember we marked 3 centimeters up from the slope. I'll be connecting the neck width to that, and once I have done that, I'll just go ahead and blend the curve to the 3 centimeters. So if you marked 1 inch up, just blend that 1 inch back to your curve, both the front and the back. So just make sure you get that curve back, like curve the back, curve the front pattern to the 3 centimeter at the top. So what I will do now is cut out the back pattern first and take it out before I cut out my front. When cutting, be careful, you guys. Watch, make sure you just take your time. Don't go and cut out your front armhole while you've not moved the back from it. Just cut out your back armhole, cut out your back neckline, and yeah, cut out the back crotch curve, because we have our back pattern together with the front. So what we need to do is just cut out the back first. So take your time, gradually. So I'll go ahead and split my pattern into 2 so that I can drop 1 for the back, and then go ahead to cut out my front neckline and my front armhole and my front crotch. So this one behind here is the back pattern, of course, because it does not have the markings. I need the markings to continue my cutting. So this is my back pattern. You can see, let me just label this out. We extended the crotch by 4 and we marked 1.5 in. So I just want to label this out, so yeah, in case you missed it, this is all we did. So once I'm done labeling this, I'll just keep this aside and bring the pattern we have the markings, so I can cut out the front neckline, cut out the front armhole, and the front crotch curve we have on our bodysuit pattern. Now you guys, why I don't have allowance on this pattern is because I'll be using the stretchy fabric. So if you're not using the stretchy fabric at this point, go ahead and add your sewing allowance on the pattern, or you can just add like a little allowance, so when you get to your fabric you can add your sewing allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the front crotch curve. We no longer need the back. This is the front pattern, so I'm just cutting it off. Now step 6 is for us to open the front neckline to the one on the thumbnail, just as it is. So to do that, I'll be marking 6 inches down from the 3 inches already. So you guys remember that we came down by 3 inches already. So what we're going to do is mark 6 inches down again. So this is really going to bring the V-neck out. But if you want it deeper than this, I would advise you go down by 7 or 8, because this, as you can see on my own bodysuit, it is not deep. I didn't make it deep like what we have on the thumbnail. So if you want yours deeper, just place the tape from your shoulder to where you want it to sit, okay, and then mark that on your pattern. So once I have that indicated and I'm satisfied that this is how deep I want my neckline to be on the front, I'll go ahead and cut out the excess. And you guys, this is the front pattern. We're done. Hope this was very easy for you. Hope all the steps are really easy and detailed for you. Let me know in the comment section. At this point, you should have given this video a thumbs up. Hope you've done that. And in case you cannot wait for me to upload the sewing version, which I'll be doing soon, when you're cutting your back, you can add zip allowance at this point. And when you're sewing, this is what you need to add. I said that before. On the crotch, you need to add 3.5 inches extra on the crotch. So you cut out the fabric that is 3.5 inches long, and then you join that back on the front and on the back, so that you can be able to overlap this when you insert your pressing buttons. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So to make your crotch on the front longer and the back, add a fabric that is 3.5 inches long, or 4, depending on how long you want it to be, so you can overlap when you are when you're trying to close it between your legs. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys watching and sticking with me to the end. I hope you enjoyed the whole process. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I would love to see you on my next video. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, and love and light to you wherever you are. Bye for now.